Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today it's back into the big bad Gary Grigsby's War in the Pacific Admirals edition. Now, I have an apology to make. I did make an episode that was this episode, I guess. Before this episode was this episode. But I made an episode, and for some reason, the audio cross streams. So it sounded like there were two different episodes going on. Sometimes, if there's something in the background of my computer going on, it can pick up that sound, and it had YouTube was on or something, and you could hear one of my other videos. So rather than back up and do all of that stuff again, I'll just kind of recap. I went around to Christmas Island in that episode. Christmas Island, Palmyra. Looked at Johnston. A lot of what we did here, if we look at Christmas Island, we've got good supply, good fuel down here. I mean, not great. It's not like gonna blow you away when you see that. Um, but it's enough, to get by at this point. We also have AOs out here that have quite a bit of fuel. It's not those two AOs. They're in port. There they are. They've got 9820 in fuel sitting out here. So to the extent we have ships that need to refuel in and around Christmas Island, we've got some AOs here. It's a little dangerous to have them here unprotected. We got no air power out here, of course. Yet, we may eventually get some air power, but it's Airfield 1. We haven't gotten any planes over here. We do have a few patrol planes in Palmyra, but that's about it. But Christmas has got a little bit of supply. It's got a little bit of fuel. We got more on the way. That's some of what I did up at Pearl Harbor. I also got more things coming out to Palmyra, more things going to Pago over here, just around the corner, and some stuff going to Tahiti. So we did all that. Up at Palmyra, you see hardly any supply or fuel. As a matter of fact, I undocked some supply from Christmas to send it up to Palmyra. Now we do not really have to refuel ships here. There is some well, I shouldn't say that. There is some ASW up and around Palmyra, so we do need to get some fuel there. So I did all of that out of Pearl Harbor last time. Let me tell you, it was the most scintillating episode of this Let's Play so far, and now you missed it. So don't be angry with me. Um, but again, it was all a matter of getting some cargo down there and how we wanted to align the cargo. We'll go look at Pearl here in 1 second. Out at Johnston Island, we have no supply essentially, and so I got some things turned out to Johnston to bring some supply. You can see all of the ASW we have going in, on, and around Pearl Harbor. We also, as I go over to Pearl now, have our carriers here, right? We have one, that's the Saratoga. We also have the Enterprise, and as we come down here, we have the Lexington. And so we've got those happening. We also now have the Yorktown that is sailing out here. I believe that's the Yorktown. It sure looks like a carrier to me. After a while in this game, you get to know what these little symbols actually look like. I don't know if any of you remember, you know, uh, just booting up the game for the first time, and you're like, well, how the heck am I going to be able to tell what that is? But now I could just pick that out. I was like, oh, it's carrier. Yorktown. Now, this is coming with all of our good destroyers. What do I mean by that? Well, if we click on the destroyer, we've got radar on these, and there are 4 anti-sub. Up until this point, every American destroyer has essentially been a 2. Not very good, right? I mean, it's something, but it's not very good ASW. We got those good ones coming out with the Yorktown now, and then we'll kind of divvy them up amongst the carriers. I think there are 7 or 8 of them. So we can at least probably put 2 with each. Maybe there's one that'll only have 1, but we'll try to put 2 with each. That will also free up some other destroyers to go do destroyer type work. We could maybe send those to Australia, back to the U.S. West Coast. There's places, all kinds of places we need ASW. So there's no thinking of like, well, gosh, where in the heck do we even need these? We need them everywhere. We need anti-submarine work everywhere. You can see down by Sydney, He's been pressuring. I say he, the Axis has been pressuring us in and around Sydney with submarines. We've now gotten them off Townsville this last turn, over by Brisbane. So we've got to get some ASW out there. When these destroyers arrive, we can replace some of the other ones, and that will free them up. Now at Pearl, we've just had massive task forces coming in here. Right now, you see 767 thousand on the fuel. We got 177,000 in supply. We've got more coming, a lot more coming. Also, in that last episode, we went a little up and down the west coast, slightly up and down the west coast. We'll go do that again. I think this time we'll start with. Well, before we leave Pearl Harbor, let's also go look, just make sure we got a bunch of stuff combat at target, right? But some of the, I mean, I say some, a lot of this stuff is Pacific Fleet that we don't even need to buy out. So some of it we will be sending elsewhere. But for now, of course, you want Pearl Harbor stocked up, piled up, defended up, all kinds of ups. You just need to get as much out there as you can, and then we'll, distribute it from there. What an advantage the United States had by having Hawaii out here as a staging logistical base. You can very easily see how, probably 30, 40 years before, if, Japan would have attacked Pearl Harbor in World War One, let's just make up a scenario, the U.S. would have had absolutely no way to counter that in a lot of respects. There weren't carriers, for one thing, which ends up winning the war for the Allies in the Pacific. But ultimately, Pearl Harbor, the Hawaiian Islands in general, just weren't built up enough. I mean, it would have taken them a year probably to build that up into a sufficient port, but probably much longer than that, to build that into anything that you could stage off of. But as it was, luckily enough, by 1941, 42, late 41, early 42, Pearl Harbor, the U.S. had already started to look at that as its Western outpost, and therefore was able to very quickly start filling this up with stuff. I mean, we're what, 3 weeks into the war, and you can see all of the assets that the U.S. is able to send out to Pearl Harbor already. Let's go over to the Panama Canal. Now, I think in the last episode, wow, that's Port Stanley. What the heck? We haven't even looked at Port Stanley. What's this ship doing? Oh, that's going out to Tahiti, I'm sure. Yeah, I sent quite a bit of stuff out to Tahiti. Now, this isn't one of them. Obviously, it wouldn't have moved already, but we've got Island Mali here. That's going out with some supply. I've also got some fuel going out there, and we'll make Tahiti kind of that secondary base. Christmas Island, I look at as a refuel base, or if something needs to hide coming into Pearl Harbor, refuel that and Pago. But we may as well build up Tahiti as well in case we get shoved even further south. That's a good kind of relay station over to Australia. If we look at Panama, and the Panama Canal. Now, last time we moved some stuff from Balboa over to Cristobal. That has now arrived, and as you can see, I'm sending this over to Pearl Harbor with stuff that's coming off the U.S. East Coast, and then we have all of these ships here with a big endurance that I'm actually sending up to the eastern U.S. Okay, so early on, you want to go pick up the stuff, so you may as well batch these up as best you can with similar speeds and send them up to the U.S. East Coast, wherever that may be. New York, Norfolk, who knows? Um, but yeah, send those up, and then later on, you can get more and more task forces that actually push it out. As you can see, though, Cristobal's already got 21,000 in supply and 30,000 in fuel, and so it's already, the U.S. already building that very strongly. But we've got these two task forces out here. We have this one, I believe, is heading. Oh, okay. This is coming in with even more supply, 48, 9,600 total coming in. It'll be there in 5 days. So the U.S. already cranking that baby up out of the U.S. East Coast. Let's go look at the East Coast. Now, if we look at our air squadrons, they are all in training, training 100%. So they're all trying to get the experience numbers up. Now, we have some. like these Lightning pilots. Now there are only two, but they're up to a 59. But we do have 25 that are training on these Warhawks that are up to a 51. We have 24 more on the Lancers that are up to a 51. We've got two on the Bolos that are at 62, and then some at 32. So as you can see, there's a big disparity. Uh, we even have some Fortress pilots, the big B-17s, that are up to a 61. So we've got pilots that are starting to come up in levels a little bit, at least where you wouldn't be scared to death to send them out against the Japanese pilots. So we've got all of them training. Now we have these two cargo task forces. This one's going cargo Cape Town, so we've now started to send some stuff out to Cape Town, or we're going to anyway. It's undocked. It's not loading yet. All right, let's load. Yeah, I mean, you could go either direction here, but really this looks more like a supply. What do we got this doing? What is this? Cargo. That's got a nice capacity. It's got a speed of 12. So does this. Oh, well, let's put them together. What do you say? Transfer the ship in, and we'll send both of these to Cape Town. All right. So cargo Cape Town. They're now docked. We'll do supply. And off you go to Cape Town. What a journey that would be. All right, stop over in the Galapagos Islands, check out the sea turtles. There we go. CS Cape Town. We'll just have that run back and forth. That looks good. We'll get more going down to Cristobal. We got more coming in, more going out, and that will be the case, obviously throughout the game. The U.S. just keeps building more and more and more cargo ships. Okay, there was nothing in port down here. That's what I went to go check. Let's go back up to the eastern U.S. We just have the base force here, training aircraft. We've got that one vessel now, no ships in port. That's all done. The Canadian units, I mean, we could look around in Canada, I guess. I mean, most of these are going to be base forces that are not going to move. We've got one in Calgary. We've got this base force in Kamloops. I've decided to keep an infantry here, I guess, or actually Cole probably decided to do that. So we just got this unit in Kamloops for no apparent reason, really. I mean, it could always move down, but you're not going to really be shipping the Canadians out. So I guess in some respects, having one unit back here is not the end of the world. Let's look at Canada Command, Combat, Defend. All right, we've got an assault strength of 55 sending in Vancouver. I mean, gosh, I don't know. I feel like we should have this unit down in Vancouver. Why wouldn't we? So, oh, these are the guys that have bad morale for whatever reason. Nobody's been able to explain to me what's going on other than I thought the best explanation I heard about that, honestly, was that um, the developers doesn't don't want you going ahistoric and using the Canadians out in the Pacific too much, and especially too early. And so they've kind of set it up to where you can't really use them because the morale is low enough. I mean, that's really kind of the only thing that makes sense to me. I mean, why would the Canadians have bad morale at this point? It doesn't it just doesn't make any sense to me. So it's got to be something like that they just decided, hey, we don't want you buying out and sending Canadian units out to Pearl Harbor, let's say, all right, which would be very ahistoric, unless maybe you're going to do it, let's say in 1943, and the war is going very badly for you. Canada comes to the US's aid and says, here, we've got a bunch of infantry divisions that have been sitting around building up morale. It's really the only thing I can think of. If it's not that, I don't know. We just got some hacked off Canadians, evidently. I guess. Now, this U.S. unit, is marching all the way to Whittier. Cole kind of made a joke about it. I don't really get it, but that's fine. I don't care either necessarily. This was on the spreadsheet. We're following the spreadsheet, but it's got a 39 assault strength, but it's on a 1,200-mile journey. This is like the kind of stuff they make like a very touching movie about the 1,200-mile journey to Whittier, Canada. But that's where they're going. Okay. I mean, it's some unit I don't think we could have bought out anyway, right? Well, we could have, but whatever. Whatever, it's one unit. If Cole wants them up there, that's fine by me. We've got Prince George with just the base force. Now we get down here to Bella Bella, and we've got a base force. We got a little patrol going on out there. I like that patrol. Speaking of which, at Vancouver, are these guys all training? I guess they are. They're all training on ASW. They're at 45, 45, 43. The pilots are. Okay. I mean, at some point, let's get them going to actual missions. We'll have to remember that. Vancouver, let's just get them going with regular missions. Victoria's got a nice big, garrison here. I mean, look at this 139 assault strength. These were all planned to be here. We do have a local ASW. We have other stuff that comes in and out of Victoria. You can see now its supply and fuel. I mean, its fuel is fantastic, right? 66,000. Interesting. Okay, we may have to start getting some cargo running out of there. With Vancouver, 149,000 in supply, 452,000 in fuel. The Allies do not suffer for fuel. Let's put it that way. We just got to get more and more cargo ships, and luckily the Allies will be cranking them out. I say the Allies like there's somebody. We're playing the Allies. We will be cranking out cargo ships like crazy. So, not a big concern. Let's go out here on Vancouver Island to Cole Harbor. We got this guy resting. What is the Scottish brigade? Well, the Scots, of course, are pissed off. Scots are always pissed off about something. Freedom! Anyway, they are sitting out here. They're resting because they do not have good morale. Okay. I don't know what else to say about it. Vancouver Island gets attacked. It's going to set off alarm bells. Okay. Again to Bella Bella. Not really needed. We've got no fuel at Aliford Bay, but it's not a big deal. Always remember, the planes run on supply. That's kind of counterintuitive, but they do. Uh, so there's a long story behind that. If haven't watched the game or this Let's Play before, essentially there were two different development teams, blah 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 blah. But one worked on the air, one worked on the naval. The naval guys said, okay, well obviously we'll have ships do fuel. So they set up the whole fuel system, leaving the land force and air guys to do the other, to do those systems. And they didn't really know how the fuel was going to work, so they did it all by supply. Um, anyway, let's go to Prince Rupert, which I didn't know a whole lot about Prince Rupert before I started playing this game. I didn't realize what a major source, I mean, you've got this massive, there's two places the big massive rail line comes into, Prince Rupert and Vancouver. Making Prince Rupert pretty dang important. We've got some torpedo bombers out here. They're training at 100%. They're at 38 experience. They need a lot more. Again, we've got another brigade that's probably not happy. What can we do about it? Nothing. All right, that's it. I mean, that's O Canada. Up here at Sitka, I don't know. We've got this base force here that's supposed to go somewhere else. It's supposed to go to Cold Bay. I never seem to pick it up and drop it off. We've never gotten a transport up here. That's going to have Stanley upset. But at some point, we'll get a transport over here and we'll get it into Cold Bay. I think that's all we got to really worry about here, other than the Mount McKinley is just sitting here. This is, I believe, to help carry, and it is, because it's all cargo here. It's to help carry this base force over. But we need a transport. Now, what's up in Juneau? Why is there a ship in port in Juneau? Oh, it's all patrol. Okay, well, sure. Let's just put them in a task force. Done, done, done. 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 There we go. And I guess we'll just leave him here. I don't know. Patrol, Juno. It's not the worst stationing of World War II, that's for sure. You just sit up here in Juno and kind of hang out. Um, let's look at this one more time. Annette Island. What is this? What's going? Okay, we're unloading here. getting quite a bit of supply into a net. It's probably the only thing we need to do. I called this Cargo Islands because it's coming out of Prince Rupert, and we'll just have it hit these little bases out here. So that all looks good. Make sure everything's supposed to be here. This is supposed to be at Dutch Harbor. What the heck is going on? Um, those are engineers. We need to get out to Dutch Harbor. All right, so let's back up then and see, where do we have some transports? We got something that needs to go to Cold Harbor or Cold Bay, I'm sorry, and something that needs to go to Dutch Harbor. Surely I have some in Seattle, he says, even though he probably doesn't. Nope, not yet. Hey, the Warspite's ready to go. Excellent. All right, so the Warspite we'll put in with these two destroyers, right? Yeah, we'll do that as a matter of fact. So let's put the Warspite in there. Done. And I think with two destroy, well, these guys are now a little dinged up, aren't they? A 12 system and 11 system. They ran into that sub. It's not enough to really hurt them. Let's have them go out here. We're going to put the Warspite out here at Pearl Harbor. Okay. So there they go. Off they go. And we'll just set their home at Pearl Harbor. Um, you got to be very careful with the subs that can be in and around here when it comes to the Warspite. Let's look in here, as a matter of fact, and go look for the Colorado. Oh, it's only got 3 days left. You know what? Scratch that. Scratch that. Let's just wait. Um, whoops. Didn't want to do that. Come on, man. Let's just have them sit right here in Seattle until the Colorado's ready to go with too. But that's great. I mean, it's another battleship. Gosh, I mean, we've got so many battleships that will be getting repaired and being ready within just the next 2 weeks. All right, so they're going to sit there and port. That's fine. Doesn't look like we had any transports. Just got no transports over here. We've got this AVD. What kind of anti-sub does that have? Two? Interesting. Okay. How long would it take if I disband this, which is what I want to do? How long would it take to get these guys repaired? Do I just, oh, Pierside Shipyard, 2 days. Well, heck yeah, let's do that. It'll be ready before the Colorado is. Um, let's also do this with the Brooks. Let's just go, I mean, we may as, whoops, didn't mean to do that. We may as well get them repaired. Yep, 2 days, 2 days. Now they had no major damage, it's just some nicks and dings, it seems. But we may as well, if we're waiting anyway, get that done. All right, cool. While I'm here at Seattle, strap move. Yeah, I mean, look at all this stuff. We're supposed to move out to Alaska. Let's go, buddy. What do we have over here? Ships in port, nothing. What's the air look like in Tacoma? They should all be training for the most part. All right, that's a little aggressive. We don't need. Ooh, they're only 33 though. Maybe that's why we're doing it. Let's do that 20. I don't want them to go over 60. I just feel like that's gonna, add up fatigue for no reason. So 40 and 20. There was another unit that was, there we go. Okay, search. We'll go, ay, ay, ay. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's exit without saving. There we go. Gosh darn it. Okay, 40 and 20, that's okay. So that's the air at Tacoma. Combat defend at target. We've got quite a few things there. So no transports there as we come down the coast. Astoria. All right, we're not going to have anything there. Portland. We've got these fighters. Please tell me they're training. They are. Okay. Up to a 46. That's 17 Lancers. That's where those Lancers are training. Okay, what's happening in Corvallis? We got level bombers out here. Okay, got that. Terrible experience on those guys. Eureka. Let's look in San Francisco and see, can we find transports? There have to be. Well, there's the Crescent City. It does not currently have any. We got some of these patrols. Let's do those patrols really fast. Let's just get that done. Done. Patrol SF. All right, so we have that transport. Now, unfortunately, we did have a sub that showed up over here in the not too, you know, distant past. Now we've just got ACMs in there. All right, this is the guy we're going to send up, and I want to go get something out of Seattle. I don't know. There's so much stuff to get up there. We're going to get that transport up there. We may send one of the destroyers with him. That could be a little dicey. Where are you going? Oh, that's task force. That's a tanker. The SO Richmond going back in. All right. Um, hmm. Well, we'll see. We'll see how that works out. Do I want to take one of these destroyers and send with? Potentially, huh? We probably should. That's yard. I always say yard patrol. No. These guys are out here. Okay, they're all headed to Pearl. Everybody headed to Pearl. Everybody Wing Chun. Um, right. Okay. Well, we don't have that many destroyers here, unfortunately. I mean, I'm looking around for something else. Those YPs, I mean, hmm. Well, it's one transport. I mean, I'm just not going to change around the whole situation here till I see it's worth 17. You never want to lose a 17-point ship, but I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk it and get it heading up here to Seattle. Pick up some stuff. Then we'll pick up this stuff from Sitka. I don't know. We're going to just try to pick up everything, every dang thing we can. All right, so we know what's sitting there. Skagway, we've got a base force. What's this unit up to? It's a 40 assault strength. We're really making sure the Japanese can't take the mountains in Alaska, on the Alaska-Canada border. If we lose that, we've lost everything, gentlemen. Nothing there. Seward. Got AMs out here, and we've got everything should be here at Seward. It's also got nice fuel, nice supply. That all looks great. What do we have in Anchorage? Please tell me we've got just like 30 transports here. We do not. Combat, defend, target. Got it. We got it. What do we got going on in the? Whoops. No ships in port. I was actually meaning to look at the air, but we needed to look at that too. ASW 70. That's just, again, it's a little too much, I think. We'll get it down to 60. Run an ASW right there. Looks pretty good to me. We've got no transports. What you going to do when they come for you? Kodiak. All right, we're running out over the smaller islands here. Um, okay. How much of this were you doing? Search 50. All right. And then we've got these units that are all at their target as we come down here. Cold Bay. We got nothing sitting at Cold Bay. I don't like that, certainly. Dutch Harbor's arguably more important. It's got the, level 3 port. Oh, here's a transport. Now, this is dumping off this FA regiment. That's the coastal artillery. Okay, so they're dumping that off here at Dutch Harbor. When that's done, though, why don't we set its home port to Sitka? Right? We've got enough cargo to pick this thing up just by this just sitting over here. Why don't we send those guys over to Sitka when they're done and we'll go pick up that other unit. Finally, finally we've done it. This AVD, he's got a 2 anti-sub. He says he's fully loaded with 170. Oh, well, okay. All right, I guess we'll just leave that here. We've got a submarine tender, which has actually come in handy already. All right, that is what it is. I mean, we got to get this other stuff over here, put something in Cold Bay. We'll get more stuff coming to Dutch Harbor. I had said that I really would like to build up Adak Island at some point. We just haven't gotten there yet. We got this unit up here in Nome. He can see Russia from his window. Um, Okay. Look at that. Look how close it is. During the Cold War, you just never really thought about that kind of stuff, just how close that all is. But I mean, look how close we are to the home islands. You know, you think about Japan being so many thousands of miles away, but and this is still a big distance, don't get me wrong, but it's just so much closer than you think of, at least from Alaska. We've got this ACM coming out here. Hmm. Okay, we'll put some mines down there. I'd rather get some troops out there, but that's fine. We'll do some mines. All right, so we kind of went up that way this time. Or say this time as if, I just started. The rest of this time, let's go down the U.S. West Coast again, then we'll go look at Java very quickly. Now, I am not going to resolve the turn this time. And you may say, what? I thought we were going to try to resolve the turn every other time. Well, for one thing, there wasn't in every other time because of, as I was saying, I recorded and it didn't, the sound was off. But it's also going to be, it's New Year's Eve 1941. I do want to live stream the flip over to 1942. And so I will be announcing, when that's going to happen in the next day or so. It may happen tomorrow. So I guess I would have to announce it pretty quickly today. But I definitely want to live stream that. What a milestone as we move into 1942. Um, okay, that all looks fine. Cranked that back a little bit. Make sure everybody's supposed to be at San Fran. They are. We've already looked at the ships in port, so that's all fine. We'll go here to Mare Island. I think both of these things are supposed to be at Mare Island, and they are. We have one ship in port. It's just a little patrol. Okay. Got a lot of these little patrols. I mean, it's really amazing part of the game that they would even, model down to this level, right? I mean, these things end up not really having much function unless, I don't know, the Japanese sail up here into this hex. But that being said, I mean, we could put that at San Francisco, but that being said, it's still an amazing what they've done. Or what they did, I guess it was some time ago now. 2004 War in the Pacific originally came out. Admiral's edition was in 2011, 10 years ago. Where has all the time gone? Um, these guys are all supposed to be here. I guess, I mean, why do we have two base forces in Sacramento? Is that necessary? Is it something we really need? Probably not. I mean, San Francisco's got everything it needs, though. 338 in aviation support. Well, you know what, though? Why waste this? Let's see which one's the better one. That's got 31 aviation support. That's got 30. Yeah, I'm just going to strap move this up to San Francisco. I don't really understand why we wouldn't. Um, you know, again, it's the kind of thing where if the Japanese have landed and are all the way back in San Francisco, or I'm sorry, Sacramento, you've got bigger freaking problem. Sacramento is not your biggest problem, and not having that base force there is not going to be a big problem. Um, Fort Ord, of course, that always has a lot of stuff come in. Some of this stuff we probably need to go out to other places, but we'll wait on that a little bit. Bakersfield, what's going on? Hot as hell, Bakersfield. It's, always touches the dial at about 108, 109 out here as you see the Mojave Desert as this goes straight in. This is kind of how you go to Las Vegas. Um, I say kind of how you go. It obviously is how you go to Las Vegas. That's the I-5. People go like 130 miles an hour out here on that stretch of road. There is Marchfield. All right, we just have fighters back here doing their training. They're in 4 U.S. commands, so really, those don't generally get bought out. We also have that air there at San Luis Obispo, recon level bombers. We've got a lot of artillery here. Where got the heavy guns in at San Luis Obispo. All right, beautiful Santa Barbara. I was just there this weekend. What an amazing place. Move combat. Okay, this can go to combat. Whoops. Maybe it can. There we go. Had to get the 107th Cavalry ready. We've also got the islands out here, the Channel Islands. Hey, there's a transport. Huh. Okay, so we took this regiment out there. Well, let's look at Los Angeles. We may want this to go up north as well. We can use that for our own purposes. Los Angeles, let's go. What you got here? Training, some ASW work. We've got a tanker here. Why is the SO Durban we just got this in, I'm almost certain. Tanker, the SO Durban, does not have, hmm, whoops, actually, they have the same speed. No, the SO Durban's actually quite fast for a tanker. What I was trying to do is look at this and see if it was on its endurance. It is, so it's got a smaller endurance. This needs to go to Pearl Harbor. We'll say tanker Pearl. All right, get that set up. Let's dock it. Let's load fuel. And off you go to Pearl Harbor. We'll just make that a CS. All right, CS Pearl Harbor. Continuous supply, if you're wondering. Okay. Let's look at the air one more time, just making sure. Those Warhawks can move out. The Lightnings can move out. So we could definitely move those. Got a lot of transports here. Excuse me. Um, got the ACMs. Do we have anything under repair in LA? We do. The good old Queen Elizabeth. Well, she could take a lot of troops out. Speaking of troops out, what do we have here? All West Coast restricted, all at target. It's an assault strength of 719. Look at the 7th Motorized Infantry Division. Holy moly, get those guys over to Europe, where they can run. Motorized infantry doesn't have quite as much use in the Pacific theater, of course. We would have to buy them out. Yeah, we can't. Totally restricted. Okay, too bad. Too bad. Um, yeah, all of these are really going to be that way. So we don't really have anything here, but we do have the Mataroa, which is a Kiwi. Wow, this is pretty nice, actually. Hmm, interesting. We've taken most of our stuff over initially, like the initial stuff you sent over, right? The Gulf Dawn's going out there with the AKs. Dock. This is to load fuel. Oh, you know what though? I actually want this cargo to do something different. Um, let's do cargo. This big boy done can go all the way. He's going to load supply. All right, that's got a big enough endurance to go all the way to either Brisbane or Sydney. Oh, hell, I don't know. Let's put him into, let's just put him into Brisbane. And let's set up a waypoint or two. Use waypoints. All right, we'll have him go all the way down here. Okay, keep going. Where is Tahiti? I've lost Tahiti. It's this way. Just have him move down around this way. Oh, is that waypoint one? There we go. All right. So that one's going to go there. And then the other one, where did that go? All right, that's the transport. That transport, I'm actually going to send that up to Seattle as well. There's just so much stuff that we have to take out of there. So I'm going to send that up to Seattle. All right, off you go. Now then, I'm going to keep this around. That's a really nice ship, and these two are as well. Patrol, AMC, the Gulf Dawn, and then the Suva I wanted to take out of here. Let's form a new task force cargo with the Suva. Done. All right. And since it's named the Suva, let's just cancel load fuel. Let's load supply, and we'll actually send it to Suva. You may say, what kind of craziness is this? I usually don't have them go all the way here. I go to Hawaii first, but I think because that's its namesake, you kind of have to do this. Maybe not. But I'm going to do it. Use waypoints, set waypoint 1. All right. And let's go out and around Malden Island, Charles Malden Island. Now, I doubt it's named after Charles Malden, but if it were, he is an excellent actor. Um, we got the ACM and we've got the Queen Elizabeth. We've got APs. We've got Gulf Dawn. It's not doing anything. Now, why do I have some of these in here not doing anything? Undock, cancel load fuel. Okay, it's loading fuel. Let's have that go to Pearl Harbor. And we want that to be on continuous. I guess some of these must have arrived uh, just recently in the last day or two. All right, so now he's off to Pearl Harbor. Let's very quickly, we'll look here at Santa Ana. The Santa Ana winds, they are indeed windy. Let's look at San Diego. Just got the Yorktown in there a couple of turns ago, and off she goes. ASW training, okay, how's the experience looking? It's kind of potluck, hit or miss. Anybody in San Diego looking to go anywhere? Catch a ride. All West Coast restricted here, including the U.S. Fleet Air West. Ships and ports should be the ACM. It is. It's the obstructor, and we've got nothing being repaired. Okay, so that's the U.S. West Coast. We kind of looked a little bit at Pearl Harbor, whatnot. I want to save the rest because I'm ready to turn the turn, as they say in the business. But I want to do that live, and I do believe I will do that tomorrow, which I think is June 8th. And so June 8th, I will live stream this and we will actually turn the turn together and we'll go hurtling into 1942. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. This has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.